Fred, you've just volunteered yourself to go with the first question on my list.
Good.
So, in your opinion, what are the major trends that are currently shaping the truck industry?
I mean, I would say that we see three major trends. The first one, connectivity. We have electromobility, the second one, and then, of course, automation, which was mentioned just previously. I mean, as was said by Samir, all these things are already here, right? When we see connectivity, we just passed our millionth vehicle or equipment being connected.
Yeah.
Electromobility, we have had electric drive lines on public roads in Europe since 2015. And we see automation also being developed, hampered a bit about regulatory requirements, but we are ready to do that.
You've obviously, Volvo, not yourself obviously, but Volvo have developed Vera, which is kind of like your concept in terms of on a closed environment setup can actually work with that sort of with a very high level autonomy. But we're obviously seeing levels of autonomy come into our trucks already, aren't we?
True. I mean, as I said, what is hampering us in the industry is actually the regulatory bit and sort of public acceptance and the legal framework to put these vehicles on the road. If you do it like we do it with our customers together in partnership and in majorly in private spaces where we don't have this regulatorily complicating factor. So I mean, we have already now automated trucks in mines, in agriculture, depots, shuttle services. I mean, you mentioned it, we have it in all these things. We also have, of course, construction equipment in the Volvo Group, and we see autonomous solutions also coming into the quarries and the sand pits of our customers. So, I mean, we see that in all areas. And basically what is holding us back is a bit the legislators and when they will be ready to make this shift. And we are ready, Volvo Group, and I'm sure many of the panelists here are ready to go with our customers and implement these things.
Well, as Fred's just thrown it out to the panel, is there anybody else who'd like to comment on what he's just said there in terms of where we're at?
Well, I think I agree. I think most manufacturers are in a stage where they are level and ready, and they're testing it. Said from Scania perspective, we have recently launched our AXL vehicle, which is a truck that is for focusing on mining operation or a tipper unit. I think we also see it more in when it comes to buses, with people transportation, because you can also be a bit to start because you can limit sort of the factors. Let's say.
When you're in that sort of small closed environment where you can have routes dedicated to those vehicles, that sort of lowers the risk in terms of, certainly from a regulatory point of view.
Yeah, of course, from a regulating perspective, it's important as well, because I think it's not always in place right now yet.
Yeah, and you mentioned to me when we were speaking last night that actually your truck outside actually does have level 2. Just explain to the audience what you meant by level 2 level of autonomy.
Yes, Stephen, this is very much the truth. And as mentioned by you gentlemen, definitely one of the key trends is automation. And I would say that for us at Daimler or at Mercedes-Benz, one trend is never going to stop, and this is the trend for innovation in any aspects. But coming to your question specifically, the truck which is parked outside, this is the Mercedes-Benz Actros, is a level 2. And this is the vehicle which has covered close to 1,000 kilometers here in Dubai, driven autonomously on the level 2 level. Of course, Daimler is a global company, and we have brands in the United States, in Asia, in Europe, and in this part of the world. So namely, Mercedes-Benz is presently able to offer to customers. The vehicle can be bought, which is a level 2. So you can operate this vehicle on the streets of Europe. You can operate the streets, as it was shown by us, reliably on the Dubai streets. So we drove 140 kilometers on a test drive between Dubai and Abu Dhabi. So this is not the future. This is the reality already.
Yeah.
And as I was saying, we are the global company. So we have also the brands which are representing us in NAFTA countries, so in Northern America namely. And already there, we are the first manufacturer who is actively testing the level 4 trucks on the public roads together with other road users. Just like 4 years ago, we did the first big bang in the United States on the Hoover Dam in a very controlled environment, just like you were mentioning on the mines, on the niche segments or in the hubs. And we are confident, happy, and proud to be able to already do a major step forward and to do this in the setting of the public roads. We are continuously working forward. I believe, coming back to the original question, and as I was saying, the need for innovation is the major trend which we will never stop doing. We moved from developing in size of the engines, in size of the load which we are transporting, in size of the speed which we are driving, to the materials, then to the electronics recently. And now we are in the era where we are focusing not on the electronics, we are focusing on the software, on the artificial intelligence. Because we want to be on the forefront of technology, we want to lead this transportation segment into the future.
But Can, you're for trucks, I don't know how you guys do it. You must have one of the best social media outfits in the world, because it seems to be on my LinkedIn profile. I switch it on and there's somebody from Ford Trucks with the F-Max in a new market. Yeah. So you guys are doing a lot of traveling around in the market at the moment. When you're out there, are people talking, are actual companies in transportation or logistics actually talking about this technology, or are there other concerns for them?
Actually, we are a bit new than the other competitors in the market, so that's why thanks for your explanation for the Ford Trucks. So I don't want to repeat my colleagues here. The autonomous tests are ongoing also for Ford Trucks. Also, the electrification of the truck is also tested, and we have already launched our first electric garbage truck in Turkish market. But the thing is now we are discussing Internet of Things. So the connected truck, the connectivity create a very big data, and we use this data for the future of the business. Yeah. So the big data. Sorry. So sound test, okay.
Oh, look at that, it's really clear, isn't it? Can we all have one?
Okay. So I was thinking, I was speaking about the big data. So the connectivity give us very big data, and we are now, we have already started to use this data for, to predict any problem in the truck, to predict the future problems for the truck. So it affects the cost of ownership and also the fuel efficiency for the future. So as for trucks, I don't want to add any more thing, but I just agree with my friend here.
But what are the, I mean, we talk about trends globally there, but what do you guys feel are the trends locally? I mean, it's not, I assume it's not all about e-mobility or connectivity. What are when you speak to your distributors on their customers, so your customers, what are their concerns in the market at the moment?
I mean, I can perhaps comment on
Please,
that.
Yeah.
I mean, we all know the transportation business, it is a very competitive business, yeah. Highly competitive, and I mean, of course, our customers are facing tremendous challenges in tiny margins to operate their business, and of course, we as a supplier, as manufacturer, trying our best to also help out, to support our customers, developing I mean, right specification for their operation, supporting the customer throughout the lifetime of the truck, with a lot of focus on total operating economy. I mean, how can we support our customers to increase revenues by having the right specification? How can we help our customers reduce costs by having an efficient truck or transport solution? So that is very much what we are, let's say, focusing on. I mean, as the colleagues have said, the future is around the corner when it comes to new technologies, but a lot of things can be done already I mean, also today with the current technology, the current processes and concepts that we are following, connectivity, alternative fuels, to mention a few of them.
I mean, so Fred, you were nodding away there. Is that something you agree with?
Yeah, I was thinking we have a bit of course, we have the traditional customers that are smaller, mid-sized corporations. They very much look down at the productivity, fuel efficiency, and we can bring that to them already today with the connectivity, right? As I mentioned, this is a standard feature today, right? But even so, not all our customers are taking the full advantage of that, and I think you can do a lot already today.
So you're saying that there are solutions or features on the trucks that people just aren't using?
I mean, the truck outside and all our vehicles with live to this market are prepared for connected services, right? Which means that, as you mentioned, we can learn from it, do predictive repairs, do adaptable service schedules, optimize our service contracts. All of this is already available on the roads here in the UAE since a long time back. But then not all customers are ready to take the full advantage of that. And coming into us and our partners to have that dialogue, they can get an immediate impact already today. Then, of course, we have some customers which are bigger corporations, which have people thinking into the future, where they want to position themselves, thinking about climate change. And of course, we get the questions quite regularly regarding electromobility and
what sort of companies are these? Are we talking oil and gas or in these large...
Not really oil and gas.
Freight
We're talking
companies?
Bigger logistic operators, I mean, airport, government bodies, those kind of customers.
So how do we engage then, if you're saying that the big fleets are looking at it, how do we engage with companies that are smaller? How do they get to understand? How do you guys sort of say to them, you know, these are the advantages you can have?
Actually, we used to be a truck manufacturer before, but now we have become a solution provider, solution partner for our customers. So it is either it is small or it is big company. We need to give them a complete solutions. We need to be a partner of our customers. So there are three basic things in the market now. The first is like finance. Before we didn't have to think about the finance, but now the retail finance, leasing or rental options should be on the table. The clarity of cost of ownership, as he mentioned, I mean, we keep improving our cost of ownership by getting the data from the vehicles, and we will continue to increase. And the driver attitude, Mr. Samir also mentioned in his speech in the first session, the driver attitude has a great impact on operational cost. So that's why we need to take care of the fleet drivers as well. We have an assessment program for them. After the assessment, we give training. So those 3 points are very important for the current fleet customers. But not all of the customers are ready for all those solutions, but we are trying to...
Do customers actually understand TCO, total cost of ownership? No?
Of course.
Of course.
Yeah. But I have to say, I mean, I have been working in Europe, Asia, I mean, all over the world, the customers have the similar requirements and should never, ever be underestimated. Right? No one else knows the cost of ownership and the profitability and our products better than our customers, right? And all of us here are here to be the partner for our customer, provide a service to them, right? That goes with the territory, right? For sure.
So the reason why they would buy a new truck from, say, manufacturers sort of at your guys' level is that to be able to do that, they need financing, don't they? So, I mean, is this something you think has got more difficult? Is getting easier? I mean, are you working? I mean, we obviously mentioned a little bit there. The rest of the panel, are you actively trying to find ways of being able to help people to finance their vehicles?
I can comment on that. I mean, as the colleagues are saying, I mean, we are no longer just a manufacturer. I mean, we are a solution provider. And I mean, when I'm going out visiting customer, we are discussing the actual truck that's a small part of the discussion. We are more discussing, their operation and how can we support them to make their operation more lean and more efficient. And of course, financial services is one part of that. Workshop services, fleet management services, connectivity are also part of those discussions. How do we fit in with our complete, let's say, service and product offer to support our customers?
What are the sort of questions you need to ask a fleet? So you're talking about being a solutions provider, but what are the sorts of, how do you dig into a fleet operation to find out what their requirement is?
Of course, we have to understand the operation. The product is, of course, one important part, and how do we develop together with the customer the right specification for his operation? That is one part. But also, try to understand a little bit what does the costs for the customer look like, and what drives revenue for the customer, and what do we have, or what can we provide to the customer to enable him or help him to reduce costs and increase revenues.
Yeah.
One thing stands out. Listening to Eric and Frederick, and of course you, Chan, clearly one thing stands out, and this is that the customers, regardless of how big or small, regardless of where they are sitting in Asia, in Europe, everybody's looking for a partner.
Yeah.
And the brand claim of Mercedes-Benz is trucks you can trust. We can expand it by saying that this is trucks and people you can trust, or trucks and people and services you can trust. I think that nobody here today, or anywhere in the world, is buying the truck because he wants to buy the truck. He's buying the truck because he has to buy the truck, and he has to do the business. And you do business with the people who can be your partners in that business. And this is what drives us at Mercedes-Benz. This is what we are trying to do constantly. We are not focusing so much on the technology, despite of me saying that we have the highest level of autonomy vehicles now on the streets. I think that we are constantly focusing on the people relationships. We are constantly focusing on developing ourselves, our general distributors. And to answer your question, what questions do we ask? The core value of Daimler is we start by listening. We are there to listen to our customers. And then we develop products that provide solutions.
How does that process work in terms of, for the other guys on the panel, how does that work in terms of how you plug that information that you find, or that feedback, or that requirement into sort of where the actual production is taking place, where the engineering is actually taking place? How do you, I don't know if...
Well, there's always... in the market, you don't have only the customers and us. There's always the legislator or the policy maker. And the triangle of the customer, the politician, and the manufacturer, or if you will, the technology, the politics, and the economy at the end, is the thing which defines what the actual needs are going to be. The ultimate need is, of course, to be profitable, efficient, and successful in business. So what do we do? Of course, we are working closely with the legislators, be it in Europe, be it in the States, be it here. And of course, based on the trend in the economy. Just one small example. 20 years ago, the population of the world was probably 6 billion people. When I was young, when I was at primary school, it was 5 billion people. Imagine 2050. 2050 will be much, much more than today. How does it transfer into what the trucks need to look like? Knowing that the need for the logistics is going to be substantially higher than today. We'll need more trucks. We need more trucks on the road. And then this led to the conclusion that we probably need autonomous vehicles because the autonomous vehicles can run on the night, during the night. And we are working closely with the sources of information for the economy. We are working closely with our fleet customers.
There's often restrictions in terms of where and when vehicles can go when they're operating at those hours.
Yes, there is.
Yeah.
One of the key constraints is not only the legislation. Imagine your regular truck driver. He cannot drive in the middle of the night because of his biological clock.
Yeah.
And definitely, if we have the autonomous vehicles, they can run for more than 8 hours a day or 10 hours a day. They can probably run 14, 15, 16 hours a day. And this will lead to the increase in the logistics. And we will close the circle. because we are going from the economy towards the technology, and we are coming back to the economy, because the efficiency of logistics is directly connected with the wealth of a nation.
Yeah.
If you drop the transport cost, you will increase the efficiency and the well-being of the country.
But obviously in a market like this, although the costs are increasing, the driver and the fuel costs are relatively low compared to other markets. So do we not think that might decelerate the interest in autonomous vehicles here? Or do you think there will be, as the technology becomes more available, you think we will get demand here?
I mean, yeah, we are all global players, right? So we are all interested in having a sustainable business together with our customers going into the future. And what you mentioned just now and what we discussed is that we see some very rapid development going forward. And I would have to say that it's being...
Rapid?
Yes. Yeah. I have to say that it's being led by the companies, actually, because we want to provide these solutions, and we want to have sustainable solutions for society and for our customers. So looking at the UAE as one small market in a global context, I mean, we are developing these products for our global customers, and they will be available for the UAE customers as well, for sure. And they are already today available. Then it's a question of maturity of legislative system. It's a question of wish and business model of customers. And here, of course, the cost breakdown of customers around the globe varies a bit, depending on the salaries of the drivers and the cost of the fuel. But it remains more or less constant anyway. It's a plus minus 10% on fuel impact of the cost and driver, more or less. But I think that we are driving this global development, all of us here in the panel, and we are ready to support you guys with our services and solutions. So just come to us and have that dialogue, and we will be ready to help you. Because it's too rapid development, and you cannot do it alone as one customer. And you have to cooperate with us and incorporate what is there and being developed already today in your business, and that will give you the benefits.
How predictable do you think this progress is going to be? You mentioned it's rapid. I mean, you see how things change often. I mean, like truck technology for a very long time didn't really change very much, and then suddenly we're seeing quite a lot of progress over the last 10 years.
There is a development. I would say that the energy density of batteries is deciding very much the commercial viability of the electric drive.
You mean in terms of the cost, the upfront cost in terms of being able to buy, or for you guys in terms of developing?
Also weight versus energy stored, right? Because I mean, if you look at one of our battery packs, it's like half a ton, right? For
how many battery packs?
50 kilowatt hours. You can have 2 to 8, right? 2 to 6, right? So then, I mean, having that on a vehicle where your every ton is the money we talked about and the profit for our customer, right? That density has to come up, right? So that will happen, and it's already happening now, right? Is it predictable? Yeah, some of these things cost an enormous amount of money to develop, right? And we are already putting our company, Volvo Group's full financial resources behind the development of these 3 areas. So of course, to some extent, it's predictable what will happen when it comes to those 3 trends anyway. The connectivity, which is already here, electromobility, which all of us are already investing in, and the autonomous vehicles, which are being rapidly developed and already ready for public roads, if legislation allows us.
I think here in UAE, I think we have a good foundation to have autonomous vehicles. We have RTA having their vision 2030 that 30% of all their transport will be self-driving. And
I mean, it's sort of like in terms of the world, it's actually globally, it's actually world class.
It is, and I think also from you have fewer sort of stakeholders here than you do have, let's say, in Europe. And you also have a new and modern infrastructure compared to Europe, where you're sort of stuck with several hundred years old cities, which is difficult to change. So you have, I would say, the prerequisites is in place to go autonomous.
What about, obviously, the biggest market is Saudi Arabia? Theoretically, do you think you could see a point where there'll be a technology gap between the 2 countries? Because obviously some freight transportation companies are actually moving between the two markets every single day. So, do you think we might see regionally an uplift, or do you think it might be just centralized here?
I think the different markets are in different levels. I think in that sense, UAE is in the forefront. Then I think Saudi Arabia, if they have the willingness to do it, they can do it.
Well, we've seen that with other things. And I mentioned earlier to Samir, I was asking him whether or not he sees himself as a disruptor. Do you guys see yourself as a disruptor, or as he argued, actually that's not the way to look at it? He's out there trying to collaborate with the industry. I don't know how you guys see yourselves. I mean, there has to be, if you introduce a new piece of technology, there is a level of disruption there, isn't there?
Most probably, yes.
Yeah.
I mean, we are probably proud to say that in the truck industry, we are the original disruptors. We are at Mercedes-Benz.
Yeah.
And coming back to the 1896, I mean, 125 years almost ago, we invented the truck.
Yeah.
And the innovation or the disruption didn't come from Silicon Valley at that time, of course. It came from Bahn-Cannstatt in Germany. This is the core value which we are having. This is something what we are driving and this is something what we are always willing to do. What I said, the need for innovation is never going to cease.
I mean, are there any features in the trucks that are outside in our exhibition area? By the way, I don't think we've really said this enough, but please do go and see the exhibition area outside. We've got, I think it's actually probably one of the best lineups of trucks, considering it's only 5 lineups of trucks you'll find anywhere else. I mean, we've got the Truck of the Year, we've got the new Actros, the new truck generation, the FH, fantastic. So thank you guys, by the way, for bringing those out there. But are there any features on these trucks you consider to be disruptive, or sort of at the cutting edge?
I mean, I still come back to what you can use today, right? I mean, because we have connectivity available. As was mentioned already before, the driver is still a very important component, right? We can develop fantastic products, but if we do not support that driver to be efficient in his daily work, our customers will not get those benefits and that profitability. So, I mean, that's a request. Please use the connectivity already there in place to get better fuel economy, better driver appeal, better safety, better uptime on your vehicles, and thus a better profitability for your company. It's already there. Use it.
And of course, there's, I mean, also on the existing products, a lot of work to be done. And I mean, the Scania product, the Scania truck you see outside, it's our new generation, the Scania NTG. And when developing the new cab, we have focused a lot on safety. I mean, in terms of visibility, in terms of braking power, etc. So I mean, there is also fine-tuning to be done on the current technologies. And also, I mean, in terms of safety, I mean, surrounding services like driver training to also let's say lift the awareness, lift the knowledge and abilities of the drivers also, which is a very important part when it comes to safety, but also efficiency of the trucks. So there, I guess, where I think a lot of work is still to be done.
So we show here F-Max, as you mentioned. This is International Truck of the Year 2019. So it has some unique safety features. I mean, it is the industry features, but emerging features like lane departure warning system, anti-collision system, driver fatigue sensor. Actually, there is. I just read a study yesterday. It decreased those systems decrease the accident rate 15%. So you are welcome to see those features, as well as there are some efficiency features like predictive cruise control and other powertrain components, and we are happy to explain to our customers and colleagues.
We also have one unique feature, and this is the thing which we invented some 50 years ago, actually, and this is the. This is not. Okay, so actually the feature which we have in our truck, the Truck of the Year 2020, is the seat bench in the back, which can sit 4 people. And this is not a disruptive technology as such. Speaking of technology, we are having the vehicle presented here, which we are using for the driver training since 50 years already. And this vehicle is something where we invite our drivers, and we offer them coaching when it comes to safe driving, efficient driving, and proper use of the vehicle technology. So I invite you to come and see our truck, Mercedes-Benz Actros 1845, the truck of the year 2020.
I mean, we've mentioned driver training there. I mean, what is this? I mean, compared to other markets, what is the level of driving expertise you see here in terms of truck driving? Could it be better?
Of course it can be better. It can be better everywhere.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah. And I think you're pointing out driver training is a very crucial point. And coming back to the safety, we talk a lot. It's easy to talk about all the fancy technology advances and things. Yeah. But as long as we have a driver in the vehicle, the most important thing for the safety of the vehicle and the surrounding is the actual driver. Yeah. And it's very important to put focus on the driver. That is something we've done from Scania all along. Yeah. And I would say that if you give the driver a vehicle that he feels happy with, he feels in control, he also becomes a safe driver. Yeah. Adding with driver training, of course, as well as then all, let's say, the technology around it. But I think that the core of the safety is the driver.
And with the information, I mean, becoming available through the connectivity, I mean, we can, of course, better support this development as well. I mean, better coach the drivers, explain to the operators, the owners, I mean, what we can do also to make the complete operation more efficient as well. So.
Even so, I mean, even if we have this connectivity, we're driving and having driver competitions around the world, right? With global finals, regional finals, since many, many years back. Yeah. And even if you look at those selected best drivers from our customer companies, often there's a difference in fuel economy of 20% in those finals, right? So even, I would say that it's an individual skill that you need to develop continuously with our support and with the support of our importers. So
are you saying that you could probably, it's double digit, the difference between a good driver and a bad driver? Potentially 20%?
Easily. Yeah. And that's the best ones. We see even some regional finals, we come up to a 15% gap. Wow. That is on controlled environment, controlled road, same truck, 15%. And that is up to that driver. Yeah. So if we can support him with a good working environment and connectivity and proper training, which we of course are offering our partners, we can make that happen. And of course, the future, when we have the autonomous vehicles, that hints on the savings that our customers can do when that comes true.
I mean, I think it's really interesting. You talk about autonomous vehicles. It's going to happen. Already. I was watching a terrible program, but Grand Tour, and Jeremy Clarkson on there absolutely believes that there will never be autonomous vehicles. But you guys are absolutely convinced. I mean, you're there. Your laboratories, your R&D centers are developing. It's going to happen.
I mean, we are all investing a lot in the new technologies, being as was stated from the beginning, in connectivity, electrification, autonomous, and it will for sure come. I mean, it's already here in closed areas. Yeah. Solutions are there. Trucks are operated in mines and closed areas. And I mean, of course, it has to go hand in hand with the legislation and how things develop. But from a technology perspective, it will happen.
Okay. Well, gentlemen, thank you very much.